Welcome to Rges Pre-Algebra. This is Lesson 19B, and we're going to be doing sections 413 and 414. Now, these are just little tricks, is what both of these things are. Generally, students prefer to work with whole numbers and not to work with fractions. So you're always free to solve an equation with fractions by just working with your fractions. But here's a little trick to eliminate fractions in the first step. And that would be you would multiply the entire left side of the equation and the entire right side of the equation by the least common multiple. Now what this will do will be to eliminate fractions in the first step of the problem. So let me give you an example. Now my two denominators are 2 and 5 in this equation, and of course I have fractions here. I'm going to have to add fractions. I don't like fractions, so I want to get rid of them as quickly as possible. What is the least common multiple between 2 and 5? The least common multiple is, that means both 2 could divide into it and 5 could divide into it evenly, would be 10. 2 goes into 10 5 times, and 5 goes into 10 2 times. So what I'm going to do is take this 10 and I'm going to multiply it by every single term. If I take 1/2 x and multiply it by 10, and this medium step you probably won't even have to write out, but I'm just going to do it the first time just to show you very clearly what's going on. And the answer on the right side, I'm also going to multiply by 10. So every single term. Now, the only trick here is you cannot leave off any term. Okay. Notice what happens with my first term, which is a fraction. The 2 goes into 10 5 times. 5 times 1 times x is 5x. The 5 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 1 times x, don't forget your plus there, is 2x. Equals 140 times 10, or 1400. Now 5x plus 2x, that's combining like terms. And now dividing by 7 gives me 2 into 14. 7 goes into 14 2 times. And that's my answer. And isn't that fun? From here down, you see, we're just dealing with whole numbers. And so our first step is to eliminate the fractions. Let me go ahead and give you a couple more examples. Now, their second example, to be honest, I would not consider even doing this kind of thinking with it. What I would consider is just multiplying both sides by the reciprocal. So I would just get x equals 1/2 times 3. Reciprocal of 2/3 is 3/2, and so my answer is 3/4. So I would not go about that by thinking in this way that we're illustrating in this section. And the reason why is we don't have more than one term. Up here I have more than one term. I have one term on each side, okay? I have 2 terms on the left, and that's really where this becomes useful. Also in their 4.13c example, same thinking, just multiply by the reciprocal. So that means when we get over to our problems on page 137, your assignment is 1 through 12 all, but 1 through 6 do not use this method. Just multiply by the reciprocal, you'll be in better shape there. But this method I will want you to do for 7 through 12. Now, for 414, they have a similar idea. They say you could also use this kind of thinking to eliminate decimals in equations. Now, to be honest, after students are taught this, I don't think as many students care about this. And so they don't tend to use it, and neither do I. I don't find it that useful, but let me show you what he's talking about here. 0.3x, and so I'm going to teach you the idea, but then I'm not going to care if you never use it. I think the other technique you will probably be inclined to use a lot. But I could eliminate the decimal simply by moving the decimal point. If I move it to the right one here, I'll move it, the decimal point, of course, in a whole number is sitting right there to the right of the last number, and I'll move it to the right one there, ending up with 3x equals 210. Now divide by 3, and you're going to get 3 goes into 21 7 times, and with the remainder 0. So you might find that useful. If you're not real happy with decimals, you might find that this technique is okay. So let me show you one more time. It's not at all a difficult technique. I'm going to move to the right 2 places, move to the right 2 places. That gives me 5x equals 250. Again, divide. 5 goes into 25 5 times, and I have an extra 0. Just like that. And for some of you, like I say, you might find this a useful tool. All of you want to use this technique for today's assignment, which will be 1 through 12 all again. And maybe it is more useful. I don't know. I don't really find it that challenging, but that's up to you to use decimals. So, okay, now your sharpening skills section on this will be 1 through 20 all. You've been doing things like 1 through 8. Well, you've been doing all of this, so this should be very easy for you. 1 through 8 would be multiplying and dividing, where you're adding or subtracting exponents. And then 9 through 20 is going to be solving equations, of which only the last 2 will give you the opportunity to use your new skills. Actually, 15 would also. Yeah, I guess there's a little more than that. Well, you take a look. Okay. Well, have fun with that. I don't think it's a hard assignment. I think most of you will breeze right through this one, and we'll see you in class.